Phoenix Magazine readers voted #1 talk radio show in Arizona.
#1 during your morning commute.
#1 whenever news breaks during your day.
And #1 whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, indeed it is Monty in the Morning. Tuesday, January 19th, 2021 already. And speaking of already, there's already a Kyrie Irving problem in Brooklyn.
Yes.
There is already white coaches that are a problem in the NFL. And Jared Porter's penis is a problem for the New York Mets. All right, we're off to a great start, so why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That's after you find us on YouTube, The Monty Show. M-O-N-T-Y, The Monty Show is where you find us on YouTube. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram, The Monty Show, M-O-N-T-Y, The Monty Show. We are here just about 6 a.m. Mountain, 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, right here on YouTube Live and on the podcast. Guess what? If you want to find us on the podcast instead of on YouTube or in addition to YouTube, because everybody listens twice, right? Because the show's amazing.
I love that show.
Just search The Monty Show. M-O-N-T-Y, The Monty Show. Jake, where do you want to start? We should probably start with the New York Mets firing Jared Porter. It's a hot story this morning. They only hired him in December. And if you don't know this story, it's pretty disgusting. Jared Porter was the general manager of the New York Mets. He had been for several years harassing a woman while he was the director of scouting for the Chicago Cubs. This started in 2016. He sent her hundreds of text messages. She stopped replying when those text messages turned sexual. And when I say turned sexual, he did things like invite her to different cities around the country where he was scouting. He did things like send her pictures of his hotel room, the lobby, the restaurant. He did things like send her a picture of his pants with a big bulge in front. He then, when she stopped replying and completely ignored him, sent her a penis of which he says was not his.
Uh-huh.
The Mets fired him this morning. This came out yesterday because the woman is no longer a reporter. She's no longer a journalist. She was a reporter for MLB covering the United States from a foreign country. She's still an anonymous figure, as she should be. The bigger issue here is, why, Jake, do men, especially men of power, and I've never understood this, why do they think sending women a picture of their penis is going to get them laid?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, clearly this guy has issues, and I don't know how in his head he said, okay, well, she stopped replying, so that means that I should send D-pics to her in her text messages.
D-pics.
D-pics, yeah. D-pics. So, I don't know, like, what are you thinking, dude? Like, did you think that this was going to end well for you? Did you think that this was going to further your career? Hey, I'm Jared Porter. I send D-pics to people. Like, that's not going to go over well. And so, like, you're literally, you had a nice career going. You went from scouting, you climbed the ladder, did everything anybody would want to do. And then you went and did this. And it's just, I'm not sitting here saying I feel sorry, because I don't.
I don't at all.
The guy totally destroyed his career, in my opinion, and it's going to be quite some time before I think he gets another job.
Yeah, and I think deservedly so. I mean, he is a really talented baseball evaluator. Obviously, Steve Cohen bought the Mets and thought so much of Jared Porter that he hired him to be his first general manager. And I think it's a plague amongst powerful men.
Yeah.
And I know that we've talked about this a lot. I know we've talked about this in particular with Donald Trump because he is renowned as a serial sexual harasser.
Uh-huh.
He has been accused multiple times of sexual assault. Previously, I mean, it's been an epidemic. But if you go through the annals of history, whether it's Bill Clinton being impeached for getting a little blowy in the Oval.
Which, by the way, I'd just like to point out, it seems pretty petty that he got impeached for that after what Trump's been impeached for. Just pointing that out.
Well, I mean, can you compare the two? I mean, Donald Trump's been impeached This time, obviously, for inciting a riot and an insurrection. I mean, insurrection sounds like erection, but trust me on this. Trust me.
Okay.
They're two totally different things.
Are you sure?
I am. I feel, 80-20, they're two different things. An erection with, obviously you could use an erection to create an insurrection.
What's an erection?
How do we always get here?
Well, see, what I was trying to vibe off, and then...
your mama are hillbillies.
Well, so anyway, the point is the Mets need to find a new general manager, but we need to have a real conversation about men who cannot get past the fact that, hey, I'm Jared Porter, the general manager of the Mets, or at the time the director of scouting for the Cubs. You should want to have sex with me. Oh, you don't? Here, let me send you a picture of my penis to convince you should have sex with me. Because that's what this is. And I don't understand it. I really don't. You're a man who has the world in the palm of his hand.
Yeah.
Which is not a euphemism for an erection.
Wow.
The point is you have the world in the palm of your hand. You're the director of scouting for the Chicago Cubs. You're going to get a job as a general manager of the New York Mets.
Yeah.
And you couldn't keep that job because you couldn't keep your penis in your pants.
Pretty much. Yep.
And so what is it? And I don't know. I honestly have never sent a dick pic.
Well, you can't relate to something that you would never do, right? Jared Porter, Brett Favre, Favre, all these guys that do this kind of thing. Clearly it's I'm not going to say it's a mental disorder, but clearly it's just you live in an alternative universe in your brain where you think it's a good idea to do that, and it never really is, and that's why I don't know why guys it screams of boredom. That's really at the end of the day what it screams.
I don't think it does. I don't think it. You know what? I don't think it's boredom. I think it is self-entitlement. I think it is egotistical. Yeah. I think when you're texting a woman a picture of your dick and you think that that's going to get her to have sex with you, I think you're incredibly egotistical. I think that you're a psychophant, and I think that you are beyond reproach.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how many more examples we have to have of this. When you send a picture of your penis to another person, you're going to get fired.
Yeah.
Because they're going to use it against you. It's going to create leverage against you.
Yeah.
And this is what I say, and I know that you're probably tired of hearing this. In Jake's teen years, I always used to tell him, please do not send nudes of yourself.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And validate me on this. I would tell you that because it will come back to get you.
Yeah.
In 10 years, when you are an entrepreneur or you're the president of a company or whatever it might be, it's going to come back to get you. This is 5 years later. Jared Porter had likely forgot that this was a situation until ESPN reached out to him for comment, to which he said, hey, can you give me some time to work on this?
They said, nah.
Yeah, he had originally denied sending D-pics, and then they're like, well, hey, man, we've seen the pictures. Well, they weren't that's not my penis. And it's like, okay, you sent them. And he eventually admitted to it. And it's like, dude, you're getting exactly what you deserve.
Yeah. And I don't know. I would guess that he probably does work again at some point, but not anytime
He'll never be a general manager again.
No, but he'll be a scout or he'll be someone behind the scenes. He will. I look at guys who, make mistakes on this level, and inevitably they get another chance. It's the NFL and guys, who have done much more heinous things like Kareem Hunt or anybody else who are now playing and everybody's all excited for him. This guy will work again, but it's just horrible that he did that. And yeah, he's getting what he deserves. He is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. And I again say, I know that we have a lot of men that listen to this show, and, I really hope that you will use this as an opportunity to talk to your young men. And I'm not trying to be cliche about it or flip about it. I really hope that as a man, you will take this opportunity to talk to your son and say, hey, look, Look what happened to this guy. He was the general manager of the New York Mets, and now look what happened because he was an idiot. Don't be an idiot, Jimmy. Right? Like that's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
So in the age of the cell phone, this will not be the last time. It's certainly not the first time. This will not be the last time something like this happens. Sadly.
Yeah, it won't.
This will not be the last time.
Yeah, I mean, it just continues to happen. So.
By the way, real quick, can we talk about the Cubs?
Yeah, well, what's there to talk about?
I had an argument with a former colleague of mine, Joey D. Giamacco. Joe DiGiacomo.
Bro, that's
I am
a legendary
amazed.
name, first of all.
It is, yeah. And he's a twin. He has a brother, Tony.
Tony!
Hey, what's your name? Anyway, the point is, we were talking about the Cubs. And Tom Ricketts, the owner of the Cubs, has been eerily silent, right? You got rid of all of these players. You traded Yu Darvish for a bag of dicks. Okay, wait, that's a theme there. You traded Yu Darvish for a pine tar. You are trying to trade Jose Contreras. You are trying to Wilson Contreras. You are trying to trade Wilson Contreras.
Yeah.
I've been terrible with names lately.
Uh-huh.
You're basically not committed to anybody long term under the guise of baseball moves. These are not baseball moves. These are put money in your pocket moves. And I get it. I totally understand it that you have a situation where, you know what? COVID has made things tight, right? Like COVID has made things difficult.
Yes.
All I'm saying is this is not the time to be profit sharing.
Well, yeah, I think that they disagree. I think owners in professional sports only care about profit sharing. That's it. They don't care about winning. They don't care about anything. They want money.
But is this a time to take money out of your team? I don't think it is. If you look, how do you justify being the Chicago Cubs based on what the San Diego Padres are doing?
Well, because they're in completely different situations. Completely different
but
situations.
Should they be?
Yeah, the Cubs are on the backside of winning. The Padres are heading into winning.
But okay, and this is my problem. But did they really win?
Yes, they did. They won a World Series. They won. Yes.
5 years ago, they won a
Still
World
counts.
Series. And they haven't been close since.
They've been in the postseason.
That doesn't matter. You were in a situation, and this is my argument, I guess. And you were in a situation with the Cubs where you had all the pitching and all the young talent, and you stopped spending money. Uh-huh. And the money you did spend was not properly spent. See Tyler Chatwood. Right? See Jason Hayward.
Right.
So all of a sudden, you come to a hard stop and you just start a fire sale.
Well, it's not really a hard stop. It is more of a, hey, we understand that we're not quite good enough to go and win a World Series, and we don't want to go and spend money because of COVID. So we're gonna back this down and bide our time. That's essentially what they're saying with all these moves. Yeah,
I don't buy it. And the fact that Tom Ricketts has been hiding and not meeting with the media, a guy who has been thirsty for media attention his entire ownership life with the Cubs, all of a sudden doesn't want to talk to the media. All of a sudden isn't in front of cameras, taking questions from the local media.
Well, there's no question. He knows it's a bad look. That's not a secret. Like, that's what I'm saying. They're biding their time. They're saying, hey, we understand that publicly that this is not going to look good. But what we are saying is, hey, we need to put more money back into our pockets because we've lost so much money due to COVID. And yeah, from our side of the situation, yeah, it's probably pretty easy to say, well, is this really the time that you should be, profit sharing or putting more money in your pocket? And to that, I say, look, like, if you're going to do this, just understand your TV viewership that was already going to be down is going to be even more down. Your fan support that was already going to be down is going to be even more down. And overall, they're just not going to be a club that anyone's going to want to get invested into as a fan. And so I guess if you're cool trading all that to put money in your pocket, then go ahead. But I'm just, to me, the more frustrating thing is that, being that we're talking about the Chicago Cubs and not the, the Miami Marlins as an example. the Cubs are an iconic franchise. They are a franchise that, in my opinion, has a responsibility to put at least a halfway decent competitive team on the field. Like, you can't go, you can't lose 100 games if you're the Cubs. That's not going to be acceptable. You're not. That's just not good enough. You got to be at least competing for your division, and that's not going to happen this year. And I think overall, it's going to be pretty miserable.
Yeah, and I think the hard part is COVID has changed sports. There's no doubt about that. If you look at the NBA right now, we watch a ton of NBA. There's no fans in the stands. This is temporary pain. So I think you're going to have a lot of definition coming out of the coronavirus. Hey, were we an organization that did what we had to do to win, even if we made significantly less money for 2 seasons? Or did we profit share and take money and cut payroll and trade players and, slash any initiative that would help us win? And my feeling is they're going to slash any initiative in Chicago that's going to help them win. When you offload Len Casper to the Chicago White Sox.
It's embarrassing, dude.
And granted, I think John Shambi was a great hire and a great replacement for Len.
He's not Len Casper.
He's not Len Casper.
Not even close.
Yeah. So you're looking at the White Sox trending significantly higher than the Cubs. You're looking at a situation where the Cubs are bottom third in the NL at this point.
Well, let's just be honest about where the White Sox are at. They're a postseason team. They're a team that's going to go out and compete this year, and it will be the first time they've competed in quite some time, but they've been trending upward and upward and upward for several years now. Last year, they were good enough to beat you, but they probably weren't good enough to be in the postseason and to really kind of like make some serious noise. This year, that's going to change. And I just think for the city of Chicago, it's no shade thrown towards the White Sox, but you're not the Cubs. You are not the same brand, and you don't have the same brand power as the Chicago Cubs. And I think when the Cubs are down, in particular when the Bulls are down, when the Bears are trying to figure something out, like you've got all these teams that are just mediocre. The Hawks are mediocre. Now we have to root for the White Sox. Who wants to do that? And I'm not brutal. Making a joke. I'm being serious. Like, if you're from Chicago, you get what I'm saying. You don't, in the city of Chicago, nobody wants to root for the White Sox who play a guaranteed low-rate field. I mean, who the hell wants to do that,
Still one of the worst
dude?
names ever.
Let's go to Wrigley. Let's have our beer. Let's have our peanuts and hot dog. Let's enjoy the 7th inning stretch and have a nice day. That's what the town is about.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens and how all this plays out. The amazing thing to me is that you're still, like Ken is saying, teams have to do what they have to do to survive. Well, I mean, that may be true.
Survive by what standard, though? You're talking about organizations that are worth hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars, damn near $1 billion.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that they got to do what they got to do to survive? Come on, dude.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. I don't understand what you have to do to survive.
I could kind of understand, I guess the appropriate way, and what I'm trying to say here is the appropriate way to handle this situation if you're the Cubs and you've made the decision that you are not going to try and win a World Series this year, that you are not going to try and better your team and compete at a high level, Ricketts should come out and own that. He should say, hey, this year, because of where we're at financially, we can't do it. We have to save money. We have to restock the war chest, and then next year next offseason, after this season, next offseason, we're gonna go out, we're gonna be super aggressive, and we're gonna try and better this team. If he went out and did that, I'd have massive respect for Ricketts and that ownership group. Massive respect, but they're not going to do that. They're just gonna offload all the talent. They're going to pour a bunch of gasoline on this roster, and then they're going to set it on fire, and they're going to let it burn the whole season. You're going to be a 100-loss team. That's what's going to happen this year, and it's going to be painful.
Yeah, and I really don't know how you fix that. I seriously don't know how you fix that. And as much as I would love to think that, they will be able to fix that, I just don't see that they will, because I don't think the Cubs care about winning as much as they care about making money.
I would agree.
Let's switch gears. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Find us on YouTube, The Monty Show, Monty. The Monty Show, we stream our show live every single day. Hey, let's talk the NFL Division Round. Yes, we are 20 minutes into the show. Yes, we are just getting to the NFL Divisional Round. But I think it was an incredibly interesting weekend. I look at the Tom Brady, Drew Brees matchup.
Yeah.
I think it lived up to the hype. I think Tom Brady is still an elite quarterback. I think we're going to get another great matchup between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. And frankly, my feeling is that I think Tom Brady is going to give Aaron Rodgers all he can handle because weather's not going to be an issue for Tom.
Yeah.
But real quick, I'm going to talk about Drew Brees because obviously Drew Brees retired if you didn't hear that. That was his last game. Is Drew Brees an all-time great? My feeling is he is not. I think Drew Brees has had a lot of opportunities to win. I do think there is going to be a remembrance of Spygate around the Super Bowl that they did win in New Orleans. I think Drew is a great story. Obviously, the shoulder injury, what he did at Purdue, going to San Diego, the shoulder injury, not signing with Miami, signing with New Orleans, winning the Super Bowl, great career. Yeah. What he's done for Katrina, great career. I think he hasn't won enough. And I think there's no question Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But I don't put him with Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. I don't put him with the best quarterbacks of this generation, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, the best of the best.
I don't put Drew Brees with the best of the best because I think he hasn't won enough.
Yeah, I think the challenge with this conversation is that, just the same way that people are going to remember Spygate and all that, there's going to be remembrance of how lethal Brees was in the Superdome with the passing attack. I mean, 5 years ago, you didn't go there and win a game. That just was not going to happen. And so I think there's going to be a lot of people who are like, yeah, he's got a Super Bowl. He did win one. And that solidifies him as an all-time great. But then I start to compare him to his peers who, are the names that you dropped, right? Like Peyton Manning, certainly Tom Brady, certainly Aaron Rodgers, all these guys that have done some great things in the league. And it puts me in a position where I feel like Tom Brady is better than the best of the best. Tom Brady, career-wise, is better than Aaron. He's better than Peyton. He's certainly better than Eli. He's better than Drew Brees. So I put Tom Brady on his own little pedestal above all of them. And then I go Aaron Rodgers. I go Peyton Manning. Eli won, so I put him in there. He had a nice little career. Drew is interesting because at the end of the day, you're right. He had a lot of opportunities to win, and it feels like he should have like 3 or 4 rings, and he's only got 1. And I even look at, the Nickel Roby-Coleman hit, and I think a lot of people will use that as an argument, and they'll say, well, look, that was his trip to the Super Bowl. That was his time, and he didn't get it. And so, to me, my opinion is, he's probably not a greatest of all-time candidate, but he is definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. And I think he had a hell of a career. And by the way, he was one of the best people the league's ever seen as well. He wasn't this guy that was getting in trouble constantly off the field, which I think matters.
I do think it matters, and I think what Drew Brees has done in the community, the Hurricane Katrina, all of the philanthropy, all of the money that Drew Brees has given to New Orleans, those are all great stories. As a football player, I think Drew Brees didn't win enough. Not totally his fault, but when you're a quarterback, you're defined by how many Super Bowls you have.
Yeah.
And I think 1 is just not enough. I think when you look at Eli Manning, I think that's a very interesting comparison. Eli's never going to have the numbers that Drew Brees had, but he won 2 Super Bowls in New York.
Yeah.
I think you look at Peyton Manning. He won multiple Super Bowls. I don't think there's any questioning Tom Brady. I don't think there's any questioning guys like Brett Favre and Aaron. Well, Aaron Rodgers needs to get another Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's in the same boat as Drew Brees right now.
Yeah, he needs another Super Bowl.
Yes,
I think that's a huge question mark. And I don't know whether or not that happens. My guess is that doesn't happen this year. I certainly think it'll be interesting. I mean, I guess it depends on what happens with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Because I think the Chiefs are better than the Packers. Are we going to see this Bills situation with the Bills and Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes has a lot of people talking right now. I mean, if you look at what's going on with Patrick Mahomes, he left the game the other night because he had a concussion. They're saying it was a nerve issue in his neck, so he doesn't necessarily have a concussion. I mean, there's a lot of people who are encouraging Patrick Mahomes not to be rushing back to play. I don't think he's rushing back to play.
Yeah.
I think Patrick Mahomes didn't have a concussion. I think he went sprinting up that tunnel to show people But the issue is now he's in the protocol.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you do if you're the Chiefs. You're not the same team without him.
No, you're not.
I mean,
he makes a huge difference. He allows you to do things that frankly Henny can't do. And I look at what the backup was able to do, and he did okay. I mean, he made some throws, but he's not Patrick Mahomes, bro.
That first down he ran for was nothing short of stellar. I mean,
and
that was unbelievable.
He ends up coming up a little bit short, but that was a hell of a play by him. He gave up his body, sacrificed everything, gave it his absolute all. And that's exactly what you need out of a backup. You need that kind of energy. And so when we talk about the Final Four in the NFL and, Aaron Rodgers' opportunity to get to a Super Bowl, this is probably one of the best opportunities that he's had to win a Super Bowl in several years, certainly. And I think Patrick Mahomes and his health and whether he plays is going to have a huge impact on that. Because if Patrick Mahomes doesn't play, I think you got to take a real hard look at this game and probably lean Bills, just because of how that looks. But let's say that Aaron Rodgers goes up against the Bills. That's still not a cakewalk of a matchup for either of them. I think that'd be an amazing game in and of itself. So, Aaron Rodgers needs one more. There's no doubt about that.
Boy, that's interesting because I don't know that Aaron Rodgers need another Super Bowl?
To be an
all-time great.
Yes.
You think he does?
You can't just have one.
I think the interesting thing about Aaron Rodgers is obviously he's not a young guy anymore. What is he, 37, 38?
Yep.
He's not a young guy anymore, and I look at a lot. I mean, the guy is incredibly accomplished. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has been nothing short of legendary. I mean, he's played for one team his entire career. Obviously, what happened with Favre,
right?
Him and Brett Favre. I mean, was there a falling out? I have no idea. Favre was obviously upset. So that I think that whole thing kind of hangs over his head.
Yeah.
But this is a guy that is a Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl MVP, a two-time NFL MVP, 9 times a Pro Bowl, 3 times first-team All-Pro, 2-time passing, touchdown leader in the NFL. I mean, the guy's resume is incredible.
Right.
But he's only got 1 championship. And I think that really makes a difference because he's in arguably one of the best generations of quarterbacks that we've ever seen.
Yes.
And I think that's the hard part for Drew Brees as well, is that you're not contending against, nobody. Yeah. You're contending against Favre. I would say that Brett Favre has been a more successful Packer quarterback than Aaron Rodgers was, right? Or has been to this point.
Yeah. It's hard to say. I think
I feel like it's unfair.
Unfair in what sense?
Unfair in that I think Aaron Rodgers has done a really nice job for the Packers, but he's not. Part of this also is this whole thing that he's just a jerk. Like, he's not the nicest. But I'm being serious. When you're talking about lists and putting guys as all-time greats, perception and likability matter.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yes. Brett Favre's thumb probably hurts him a little bit. Makes him a little less likable, Jared Porter, right? Like, it does. The Jen Sturger controversy is never going away. The fact he went to the Jets and then the Vikings is never going away.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean...
But right there, if you stop right there and you compare team changes don't always have to be bad. See Tom Brady, right? And
see Peyton Manning.
See Peyton Manning, exactly. So that's why I'm saying the team change thing, there is a certain, like, mystique and value in a guy playing, like Steph Curry as an example. Going to play for one team his entire career, likely. He's going to be...
No. The comparison is uniquely Aaron Rodgers to Brett Favre. They both have 1 Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
Now, Favre's, 3 times an MVP?
Uh-huh.
I think the controversy between Favre and Rodgers, unfortunately, I know a lot of Packer fans. I have a lot of Packer fans that are friends of mine. A lot of them blame Aaron Rodgers for Brett Favre leaving early, which is ridiculous. But Brett Favre is finally back in the good graces of the Packers. I think if you said to a Packer fan, who do you want in their prime, Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers, I think most Packer fans are going to take Brett Favre because he's viewed as a guy not who only won 1 championship, he's viewed as an all-time great. And I don't know if time, polishes the turd. I don't know. I have no idea. But I look at Aaron Rodgers, and I think that Aaron Rodgers is a jerk. I think that Aaron Rodgers is a guy who points a lot of blame. He's gotten guys fired. He's gotten guys traded. You've only won one championship. And I don't think they're good enough to win another championship today. I think it'd be interesting. It'll be interesting this weekend. Tampa is going to give them all they can handle.
Yeah.
Weather is not going to stop Tampa from being effective.
Yeah.
And that's something that the Packers are used to having a home field advantage. You know, it goes back to like Mike Vick's performance at Lambeau.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you're going to go there and play well in bad weather,
Yep.
in cold weather, in frozen tundra.
Yeah, that's usually
Right?
an advantage to the home team.
You would think so. Here, I think Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski bring them some grit.
Yes.
The fact that they run the ball effectively. Now, who knows how much Ronald Jones is going to be healthy, but Leonard Fournette's a tough SOB who still wears LSU shoulder pads.
Which is amazing to me.
My point is, they're built to grind.
Yeah.
They're not somebody that throws the ball down the field constantly.
Well, and I think the identity of the team is totally a grinder of a team. I mean, Arians has always been a tough guy, no risk it, no biscuit kind of dude, as he famously said. So, I don't think weather's going to be an issue. But look, overall, Aaron Rodgers, to me, yes, he's got the numbers, he's got the accomplishments, but he hasn't, to me, he haven't won enough. That's this is we can't on one hand say, well, Tom Brady is so great, not only because of the accomplishments, but the fact that he's working on, what is he working on now? 6 rings, 7 rings, whatever it is?
Yeah.
And now he's going to do it with a different team, with a different head coach, a completely different setup. I mean, that's the stuff of legends, dude. And so that's...
See, but there's just an assumption that he's going to do it.
That's what I mean.
There's just an assumption that
built in that he's going to win.
He's a winner.
Yeah.
Right? Like that to me is the thing that said, like, Aaron Rodgers is a winner. There's no doubt that Aaron Rodgers is truly one of the best quarterbacks.
Well, look,
talent-wise.
Look, he's never going to be Mitchell Trubisky, and we all just need to come around
Well,
to that, okay?
Duh, nobody is. I mean, Mitch is unbelievable. If Tom Brady gets his 7th Super Bowl championship, right, he's got one for the thumb, like he's got 6.
Yeah, dude.
If he gets his 7th championship...
It's over. It's over. He is the greatest quarterback the NFL's ever seen.
I don't think there's any question. But doesn't Tom Brady winning 7 make you winning 1 feel kind of weak?
Yeah.
Right?
It makes you feel mediocre, dude.
And that's why when I look at guys like Rodgers, and it's interesting, Brett Favre's part of this conversation, he only won 1 championship.
Yeah.
Now, Brett Favre's a Hall of Famer. Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer. Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. Those are 3 of the best quarterbacks to ever play.
Yeah, Tom's in the Hall of the Hall of Famers.
And Tom is in his own wing of the Hall of Fame, right? And right next to him is Joe Montana.
Yeah, yep.
There's quarterback royalty, of which Peyton Manning is not part of.
Right.
I'm telling you, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, I mean, if you think about the true royalty of quarterbacks in the NFL, I think there's only 2. With all due respect to Steve Young, because I think what Steve did in San Francisco was elite. I mean, I think Joe Montana and Tom Brady, I mean, obviously Jim McMahon's there as well. He's not. I think, obviously, Tom Brady and Joe Montana are in a league of their own. I mean, they've won enough on their own.
Yeah.
Kansas City or Buffalo right now. Like, obviously, it's Tuesday, Friday. We're going to give you picks on this, but... I mean, I think you're just waiting on Patrick Mahomes.
It's very simple, yeah.
Right?
No Patrick Mahomes, I'm going Bills. Patrick Mahomes, I'm checking the injury report still, and I may still go Bills. It really depends.
I think you got to go Chiefs at home if Patrick Mahomes plays.
Yep.
I mean, can you imagine the Bills Mafia in the Super Bowl?
Dude.
I mean, the number of tables that would be destroyed. I mean, we could go through tables like we went through TP during COVID. Like, I mean, it would be
stockpiles.
This could be an unbelievable celebration from the Bills Mafia.
Yes.
Now, I actually would love to see Tampa Buffalo. To get Buffalo back to redeem Scott Norwood's life. Who's Scott Norwood?
I don't know.
He doesn't know. Who's Darryl Talley?
I don't know.
Bruce Smith?
Don't know.
Thurman Thomas?
No idea.
Jim Kelly?
Yes. Quarterback.
You son of a
It's my quarterback.
You son of a bitch. You don't even know one single Buffalo Bill.
Josh
from
Allen.
Huh?
Josh Allen.
Don
I know
Beebe?
him.
What about Don Beebe?
Who the hell is Don Beebe? First of all, what the hell kind of name is Don Beebe?
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying here, friends? Like, you just don't even know the legends. Andre Reed.
No.
You have never heard of Andre Reed.
No.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Okay, great. If it didn't happen before 93, it didn't happen.
Have you found Thurman Thomas's helmet yet? Do you have any
No.
idea what that's about?
No. I'm guessing he took a hit to the head and he's probably dead.
I'm guessing you should shut up. He lost his helmet before the kickoff for the Super Bowl
Oh, okay.
and couldn't find it when the game started.
What would I do without you?
Yeah, I have that dream all the time. Like, it's weird. I dream that, like, I'm playing first base with a left-handed first baseman's glove and I can't get it on my hand. And usually the crack of the bat wakes me up. It's a weird dream. Dude, it is a weird dream. Like, I've had so many dreams about, like, playing hockey.
Yeah.
And, like, the dream is, like, hey, we're calling you up. You were ready to go. Hey, can you get here? We need a guy. Like, you're our guy. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then I get there and I'm like, shit, I forgot my equipment. Like, I have
You're going out onto the ice in your slippers.
I've had that dream. My clogs, thanks. I've had that dream over and over again. But it's weird. So anyway,
I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I'm fried.
I actually did. I popped some CBD. Oh man, I got on the company who makes my CBD that I take.
Yeah.
It's, by the way, if you have a busy brain and you need to sleep well, take some CBD. It's amazing. Like my wife, Mrs. Monty, got me high with this CBD. She makes me smoke weed every night.
You guys did some dope together last night?
Yeah, we smoke weed by taking CBD tablets. Which is not true. That you don't.
What?
Anyway, the point is, if you have a busy brain and you need to sleep, don't take Ambien take CBD. When I take CBD, I have an amazing night of sleep. Amazing night of sleep. It's awesome. So
I like it.
there you have it. I'm going to lean Kansas City and Tampa for the Super Bowl, and I think Kansas City today, Tuesday the 19th. I think Kansas City would win that Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would agree. That's probably fair. I mean, if Patrick Mahomes is healthy and playing, I mean, you probably have to go with the Chiefs. But
We'll see how I feel on Friday morning after Thursday night looking at it. But right now, I think I would lean Kansas City, Tampa.
yeah, okay.
So, and then who does Aaron Rodgers get fired? I don't know. Maybe you could call Dallas and get McCarthy fired.
Yeah, seriously.
Should you hit the subscribe button? Yes, you should. But should the Texans trade Deshaun Watson?
The answer is yes.
This situation's getting out of hand now.
Yeah.
And it is related to this conversation about race in the NFL. Does the NFL have a race issue? I would say it does. And outside of Robert Saleh, the new head coach of the New York Jets, who is the only minority, he is Muslim, he is the only non-white hired in the NFL so far. Whether you look at, Arthur Smith or, no. I'm not doing what the Chargers are stupid. You're just, see, like, I don't think the Spanos family is racist. I think they're stupid. Could be wrong. My point is, Robert Saleh is the only minority candidate that's been hired. Now, Eric Bieniemy is going to interview with the Houston Texans today, which obviously could change. Eric Bieniemy is black. He is wildly qualified. He has not gotten a job. And I look at the jobs that have been filled, and I just ask myself, if you're the Los Angeles Chargers, who play in the Rams stadium.
Yeah, you're renting space from your older brother.
You hired the Rams defensive coordinator who has 5 years of coaching experience, 0 years of head coaching experience, 1 year as a defensive coordinator. You hired him over Eric Bieniemy, who has been the best candidate for the last 3 years. You have a young quarterback that needs development. So you went defensive again with somebody who has no experience. Like, this is a C move to me.
Oh, to be honest with you, I think it's even worse than that. Like, I think I think all the points you make are incredibly valid. Like the first one being that you do have this young quarterback who is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, who needs development, and he needs an opportunity to be in a system that caters to his strengths. And frankly, he needs to be in an organization that's offensive minded. So when I look at this hire and I say, well, this guy that they hired had a hell of a year as a defensive coordinator, pretty much ranked first in all the metrics for defense as a team. So he did well, but he's defensive. The Chargers don't need defense. They need offense. They need a guy that can run a damn offense. They need a guy that can say, hey, here's what you have right now, Justin Herbert. Here's where we're going to take you. Here's what we need you to develop, and here's where we need you to be come week 1 of the 2021 NFL season. That's what we need. And that's not going to happen now. And frankly, this is another move where you're kind of left scratching your head because you're saying, okay, let me think about this. Let me look back to all the young head coaches that have been hired. Okay, Sean McVay, yeah, he's had some experience, a little bit of a risk, but it's worked out really well. You've been to a Super Bowl. You've done some things. So that's good. That was a good hire after all. I look at Cliffy here in Phoenix. We're not in Phoenix anymore, in case you guys were wondering. You look at Cliffy in Phoenix. He's done okay. I would say that they're moving in the right direction, but I wouldn't say that that's been a smashing success quite yet. You got to get to the postseason. You need to win your first playoff game this coming year. Then you can say it was a success. But then I look at this guy for the Chargers, and I say this guy hasn't even been a head coach almost anywhere meaningful. At least Cliff Kingsbury was a head coach in college, At least, Sean McVay had some experience under his belt in a lot of different roles, so he understands what it takes. This guy doesn't have any experience. So you're going to combine no experience with a young quarterback and a team that should have been a postseason team last year who has an enormous amount of pressure on them to be a postseason team this year? That's a recipe for disaster. And no, that's not going to be on Justin Herbert if they don't make the postseason. I'm sorry.
And listen, I understand that Brandon Staley is one of the hot young candidates. Obviously, what he did with this Rams defense this year, outstanding. They were arguably the best defense in the NFL. They were much better than the year before. There was a lot of growth there. But the thing that I don't feel like anybody's talking about is you have a guy that most of his coaching experience, is as a position coach in college. He has been a position coach with the Bears. He was an outside linebacker coach. The Broncos the same. The Rams defensive coordinator for 1 year. He's got 3 years of NFL experience, 1 as a coordinator, and you hired him to be your head coach.
And that 1 year was good, but that's a mistake.
But here's my other question. Who's he going to hire to be his offensive coordinator? Are you going to dictate staffing? If you look at how the Cardinals handled Cliffy, they told him, hey, you're going to hire these 3 guys to mentor you. Is that what the Chargers do? I would guess so.
But I thought it was interesting, and this is a key difference organizationally speaking between the Cardinals and the Chargers. The Cardinals came out and said that that's what they were going to do. It was very public that they were saying, hey, this is how it's going to be set up. This is how we're handling this.
Yeah.
And Cliff Kingsbury was all about that. He was all about that, But the Chargers have not said one way or the other. So I kind of agree with you because, again, this conversation started in the space of does the NFL have a race issue, which clearly it does when it comes to head coach hiring.
How are you, and I guess this is maybe me being a dick. I don't know. How are you hiring Brandon Staley over Eric Bieniemy?
Don't get it.
He has made incredible strides with all the quarterbacks he's coached, Bieniemy.
Yep.
If you look at Alex Smith, had a resurgence in Kansas City. You look at, Patrick Mahomes, his development has been nothing short of stellar. This is arguably the best quarterback in the NFL. And his coordinator, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, can't get a job as a head coach in the NFL because he's black. I think that's a huge issue.
Yeah.
And I could have understood if the Chargers and Tom Telesco, their general manager, had hired Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator in Buffalo. They have a long history together. They're very close friends.
Yeah.
They've worked together in the past. Okay, I get that. Guys like hiring guys they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
But you hired Brandon Staley. And he has no experience.
Well, let's be honest about the optics here. Because it's really easy for it to look this way, and I do agree that it does look this way a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't want to hire a black head coach, so we're going to go ahead and hire Jimmy, who is a position coach, to run our team.
Jimmy.
We're so willing to we're so stubborn and willing to lose that we're cool to hire someone who's terrible in an effort to not hire the most qualified candidate on the market who happens to be black. That's how much we don't want a black head coach for whatever
amazing.
reason.
It's amazing.
That's the optics. Now, I'm not saying that is, 100% concrete true that that's how they view this, but that's sure as hell what it looks like to me.
Well, what it looks like to me is that they view black head coaching candidates as a risk. That's what is very clear. And I think that general managers, I think the NFL, I think the Players Association, I think all of those minds are progressive.
Uh-huh.
I think rich, white, old owners in the NFL are not progressive.
No.
I look, I'm a Bears fan. The McCaskey family, I mean, they were born before dust was even known. You're looking at people that are old, multi-million and billionaires. You look at Jerry Jones, he's not going to be progressive. I mean, the guy's from Arkansas. He's a billionaire. You look at the history of that. I look at a guy in Shad Khan, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he made a great hire in Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Right? I can at least understand why you chose Urban Meyer. You're going to have Trevor Lawrence. You're probably going to have Trevor Lawrence as the number one overall pick, right?
I mean, Urban kind of humored to Zach Wilson, but that I just would be surprised.
But either way, either one of those quarterbacks, you're going to have a young, top of the draft quarterback.
Yeah.
You're going to you have a coach that's got a laundry list. I mean, long and deep relationships with other coaches who can develop quarterbacks. Like, it makes a lot of sense. You've energized your fan base. You've energized agents, and you have people. The depth of Ohio State and Utah talent in this league, which is where Urban is coached, the depth of Florida talent in this league, those guys want to play for Urban Meyer. I mean, they know he is a player's coach. They know he is a program builder. What is Brandon Staley? I don't know. And so now I bring this all back to where we started. Should the Texans trade Deshaun Watson? The only chance you have of placating Deshaun Watson is hiring Eric Bieniemy. And I don't think they're going to do that because I look at Cal McNair, his dad, the late Mr. McNair, is the one who essentially made inmates running the asylum.
It's awful.
I mean, his father was, with that comment, became one of the most believed to be racist owners in the NFL. I don't know, was he? I have no idea. I would hope not. But here's the other thing. Their process is already screwed up. Yeah. You have a pastor running football operations who promised Deshaun Watson he'd have a say in who the general manager is, and then he went and hired a general manager without even talking to Watson.
Yeah.
And now Nick Caserio, who was a good hire. He was essentially the number 2 in command of football operations in New England to Bill Belichick. That's a good hire.
Right.
Even though the Belichick tree's not great, but whatever. That's a good hire. But now you pissed off your star quarterback, who, by the way, don't know if you noticed about Deshaun Watson, he's black. He's made it very clear that he wants fair, equitable opportunities in the general manager and the head coaching hires in Houston. Now, that doesn't mean you have to hire a black head coach.
No.
But if you're not going to hire Eric Bieniemy, I mean,
it's a bad look. It sends a terrible message.
Who are you going to hire that's going to be more qualified than Eric Bieniemy?
There's not. That's the problem with this, because this is. Let's be clear. This isn't the first time we've had this conversation in the NFL, right?
Not at all.
This has been going on for like 5, 6, 7 years now.
Oh, way more than that.
Okay, maybe 20 years?
Yeah,
whatever it's been.
Easy.
But my point here is that this particular cycle is more overreaching in this point because Eric Bieniemy is so qualified. It's time. He's ready. And by the way, Andy Reid guys are doing quite well. Don't know if anyone's paid attention.
And by the way, Deshaun Watson's the exact guy you want as your quarterback.
Yeah, he's done playing for Texas in Texas system.
It sounds like it, but here's the truth of the matter. I don't care if he's black, white, or green. Like, I don't care. The guy's a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
He is an excellent ambassador for your franchise. Fans love him. He's great in the locker room.
Yeah.
By the way, by the way, it should be said, it looks like if he stays there, it's going to be his team because J.J. Watt's going to be gone.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to stay there.
No.
If I am Deshaun Watson, I'm gone. I'm out. I'm asking for a trade because you've done nothing to respect Deshaun Watson. You've broken promise after promise to him. And I just, if you are Deshaun Watson, what is left for you in Houston? Because you're never going to have a great relationship with the general manager, with the ownership, with management, and that always ends poorly.
Well, and the real sad thing here is that Deshaun is good enough to take you to the Super Bowl. He's capable.
Oh yeah, that's not even in question.
Like talent, it would be different if he was like a mediocre quarterback, and he was making all this issue. But he's a good quarterback. He's an upper echelon. I'm not saying he's in that like elite group, the top of the top. But certainly he's in that second tier that he can get it done for you.
How many guys are you taking over Deshaun Watson?
I'm taking Patrick Mahomes over basically anybody. I'm taking Russell Wilson over Deshaun. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers over Deshaun.
Tom Brady?
Yeah, probably right now I'm still going to take Tom Brady just because until he's not, I'm taking him, kind of a deal.
Here's the deal.
And that's pretty much it. Like I would not take Lamar over Deshaun, frankly.
Josh Allen?
It's close. It's close. We'll see what Josh does in the postseason here.
Lamar Jackson.
No, that's what I was just saying. I wouldn't take Lamar over Deshaun.
Deshaun by far.
Yeah, I would take Deshaun all day. Yeah.
I just look at. I mean, he had statistically. Arguably, he had the best statistics of any quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. When you look at he threw for 4,800 yards. Dak Prescott. That's close.
Boy, that's close.
By the way, those
They're
are two black quarterbacks.
They're very similar skill set wise. They can both push it down the field. They can both run. Deshaun's probably a little more mobile, but they're very close.
Justin Herbert.
Oh, I'm taking Deshaun still. Yeah, right now.
I think that's a little closer than we all think.
Well, it'll get closer. I think Deshaun's.
Dude, he threw for. Justin Herbert threw for 4,300 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson threw for 4,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 112 rating.
Yeah, so the numbers are slightly better.
Which is second only, I would remind you, to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He's very capable.
Incredible. And they're going to trade him.
Yeah.
And I am really, if I'm Deshaun Watson,
I would love to see him as a Niner. I would. I think that'd be amazing for the league,
Why do you
dude.
say stuff like that?
Now, for the Bears, they should be going after him, but we both know they're not going to.
Why do you say stuff like that? Is it? Do you? And I'm serious. I want to delve into this a little bit.
I'm screwed.
Yeah. Are you just a jerk, or do you just like hurting people's feelings?
Well, I don't send D pics, so I mean, I have that at least.
Look, Jared Parker, take it easy.
Deshaun
Watson should be a Chicago Bear.
Well, should be, but it's not going to be because
can you imagine Deshaun Watson and Allen Robinson?
Yeah, that would be great.
Can you imagine Deshaun Watson, Allen Robinson, and Cole Kmet? Can you imagine how much better the offensive line and the running back gets with Deshaun Watson in there?
Yes.
He's a perfect fit. The Bears have draft capital.
But
they have talent.
They're not going to do it.
They should.
But they're not going to.
But they should.
But they're not going to because they're the Bears.
They should.
Okay, well, that might be true.
Can you imagine Khalil Mack and Deshaun Watson on the same team?
Yeah, I know what that looks like. It's called J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, but the difference is that the Bears have enough talent. Well, the difference is the Bears would actually be able to convert on third down. But Matt Nagy is a terrible play caller.
Yeah,
Deshaun, don't do it. If you go to Chicago, it's exactly where you should go. Right? I mean, if you look at the other options even, just the options for him, I would think, like I'm just looking at teams that need quarterbacks. Certainly the New York Jets.
Yes.
But can Deshaun Watson afford to give that kind of money away?
No.
Yeah, I mean, no. But do you, like if you playing in New York is really expensive.
It is, yeah.
Just the cost of living and then all the taxes.
Yeah.
I would not do it. I look at, like, if you consider the 49ers, same situation, though. Do you want to live in California?
Yeah, because in California, you can have a crib in San Diego and take your hour flight up there, and all that. You can make that happen. That's a little easier.
What about the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, I think, you put him in Miami, they're a postseason team. They're there. I think Brian Flores has done a hell of a job. And by the way, That's the kind of setup that I think Deshaun's looking for. I think he wants to go into an organization that's younger, that's more
That has
energetic.
6 picks in the top 100, 100 in the draft, I think it is.
They're in a great position, and I think the Dolphins and I'll be curious to see where this whole Tua situation goes too, because these issues don't just go away. They might chill out for a while, but they don't just go away. Those locker room
How many
issues.
times have I said it? And I'll say it until he retires. Tua Tagovailoa will never be a franchise-level quarterback.
No.
Never. Here's a wild card. What about Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
They need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Because I think Ben Roethlisberger's done.
Was it the crying on the bench that did it for you?
Could be. I think if Deshaun Watson's the quarterback of the Steelers, they're already an elite team, probably at the top of the AFC.
Yeah. Yep.
If you are the Texans, you're not trading him in the AFC.
No.
There's no chance.
Can't do it.
I don't think you can.
No.
And then obviously the gorilla in the room, the New Orleans Saints. We've been talking about Drew Brees all day long.
But what do you do with Taysom then? Because I think a lot of people want Taysom.
Well, it's
to have
not
a chance.
Taysom. It's crab fingers.
No. He's forever backup, dude. He ain't getting a starting job.
Jameis Winston has actually looked good for them.
Yeah.
When they've given him opportunities. Now, he is no Deshaun Watson.
Dude, you're not giving Crab Leg Steeler an opportunity to start for your team if you're the Saints.
Wow. Did you call him Crab Leg Steeler?
Yes.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Now, here's the other one you don't want to hear. The New England Patriots. Yeah. They need a quarterback. I mean, obviously, their system is ideal for Deshaun. The problem is, if you go to New England, you're never going to have an elite wide receiver.
Uh-huh.
You're going to have running back by committee, a bunch of dudes you've never heard of at wide receiver.
Everybody do your job.
I mean, they run incredible routes, but they're just not. You're never going to have an elite wide receiver.
Yeah.
At least if history is any indicator of future performance.
Yeah.
But you're going to have one of the best defenses in the NFL. You're going to play where no expenses is spared to win.
Yes. Which I think he wants. I mean, yeah.
I think it's second only to Miami.
Listen, I don't think anybody says, "Hey, you want to go play for Bill and try and win some Super Bowls." Nah, I'll pass on that. I'm gonna go be a Dolphin. No, I mean, I think he would go. I mean, he would. But the fact of the matter is that I think I just don't see him as a Patriot. That doesn't seem logical to me. I see him as the Niners are 1, the Bears are 2. I think New Orleans could be a dark horse in this situation and go and try and make a run at them. But other than that, I think those are the 3 main ones, and maybe a couple other teams emerge. But he's going to be able to write his own ticket, I feel like, for the most part. He'll get traded, but then after that, he'll be able to negotiate a contract and kind of get the situation he wants.
Yeah, Britain says there's no way you allow him to go in the AFC. That's just shooting your foot off. So you can cross off the Steelers and the Patriots.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I agree with it. I wouldn't.
I think the Saints and the Bears make a lot of sense. And I'll go with what Kevin said. Kevin said, does Deshaun Watson make Matt Nagy a better coach? And I think obviously he does. He's an all-pro quarterback.
But you can't, as a quarterback, overcome crappy play calling, and this is the problem.
And it's Ted Phillips, the president and CEO, who's been there 22 years and been in the playoffs only 6 times.
Yeah, it's brutal, dude. And look, I know we talk about Mitch on this show a lot, but I think Deshaun is twice the quarterback Mitchell Trubisky is. There's no doubting that. But then I think about, okay, well, cool. Let's plug Deshaun Watson in, keep everything else the same. Mitch is your backup. Okay, what's changed outside of Deshaun? Play calling hasn't changed, right? Your defense hasn't changed. Nothing's changed. So is bringing Deshaun in but changing nothing good enough to get you to the postseason? Yeah, probably. Probably. You could probably get to the postseason. You could probably get past the wild card round, get into the divisional round, and then go from there.
And I know we said they wouldn't trade him in the AFC, but I think one of the most attractive spots, the Denver Broncos. I mean, that is a historically rich franchise.
Broncos been? Dude.
Well, without a quarterback. I mean, if you think about the list of quarterbacks they've gone through, whether that's Jay Cutler or Jake Plummer,
any of them,
Locke now, they haven't had stability there. But you have a guy in Vic Fangio and Pat Shurmur that are running the football there. They very clearly are in a good spot.
Yeah.
But again, that's an AFC team. I still think, Coach Lovren says, what about Carolina?
Nah.
I mean,
dude, that's too close to home, bro. I don't think so.
well, I don't know. I mean, Carolina would be a great fit. Obviously, he went to Clemson.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Dude,
if
I
you're
don't think
what about this? How crazy would this be? What if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars? You hired Urban Meyer instead of drafting Trevor Lawrence, you trade that pick to Houston and you draft Deshaun Watson,
I mean, I guess.
or you trade for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I mean,
That makes a hell of a lot of
You
sense.
could go that route. I think it really depends on what Urban wants. You know, does Urban want a really young guy who he's going to mold, or does he want to step in and I guess this depends on what Shad Khan wants as well. I mean, are you willing to be mediocre for the next 2 to 3 seasons, and then you know, after you've developed Trevor a little bit and you've built this roster out a little bit, then you know you're going to start pushing the postseason again? Or is the expectation that you're going to win now, and this offseason this offseason, the draft, all that time that will go on till next season, is the expectation that you're going to go out and make moves and put yourself in a position to compete for the postseason? And when they don't make the postseason, what's the accountability piece from Shad Khan to Urban Meyer? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like. So I think that whole conversation is just predicated on where the two are at as a team.
Well, it is really. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, like, looking up and down the standings and other situations. I mean, how many picks do you need? Like, the Panthers are picking 8th, but it's going to take more than one draft pick.
Yeah.
To get Deshaun Watson.
He's worth 3 of them, in my opinion.
You know, like, I just don't know. You know, I mean, obviously the Panthers have spent a lot of money, and I don't think they're going to shy away from that. I just don't think you have I don't think you have the full package that other teams would have.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dolphins have a ton of picks. They have Brian Flores. They have no state income tax.
Well, and they've shown that they can do it without the talent, which then means, hey, once you have better talent, you're going to win.
And there's no doubt that Flores is one of the hot coaches in the NFL. You know, I just look at Jacksonville, the Jets, and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They have a huge pick. All of them, obviously, you know, are at the top of the draft. I mean, the Jets and Jags are in. If the Jets and Jags want Deshaun Watson, they could make that happen. Those are both AFC teams.
Yeah, and I think, you know, at the end of the day, it's funny how all this works. It all comes back to that same conversation that we have pretty consistently about winning organizations and losing organizations. And, you know, your mentality when you are losing organizations. Like the Patriots, they're a winning organization. They're saying, hey, we understand that Brady was going to leave us before this season, and we're okay with that. And we understand that this is going to be a down year for us. We get it. You know, we understand what's coming here. So we're not going to be all heartbroken and surprised when we don't go to the postseason for the first time in 15 years or whatever the streak was, you know. And now they're going to bounce back, and they're going to be better this year.
Yeah.
You know, but then I look at the Jaguars, historically a bad organization, a losing organization. But it seems like with the hiring of Urban Meyer, that they're going to try and turn things around. But again, I'm just sitting here saying that Urban has a reputation about him, and he is a tremendously winning head coach in college football. But does that translate?
Probably not.
I don't know.
We're way long here. Should we? We got to talk about Kyrie though. This situation with the Brooklyn Nets. After you smash the subscribe button here on YouTube, and hit the like button too, please. If you look at the Kyrie situation in Brooklyn, speaking of trading Deshaun Watson, how do you not trade Kyrie? Or at least think about it. You can't tell me the Nets haven't thought about it. He is an odd duck. The way he handles his stuff is certainly not optimal. He doesn't communicate with the team. He communicates through other players. He goes to parties, breaks COVID protocols.
Yep.
And by the way, right now they're playing as well as they've played all season. And this James Harden trade has absolutely reinvigorated the Nets. And if I'm the Nets, I'm terrified of Kyrie coming back. I don't know what you do.
Yeah, I think the greatest thing about this Harden trade is Harden's excited again. I mean, he as a player is locked back in again. And he's embracing his role, which I think is super important. And I think this is where the downhill spiral of Kyrie Irving begins. Kyrie Irving doesn't embrace the team mentality. He's never been a team guy. He's always been an eye guy. And so when I look at this team, and even watching most of the game last night against the Bucs, that's a big win for that team. You're talking about a team that has played together for all of 5 games, and you went out and beat one of the best teams in the league. And I don't care if Giannis can shoot or not. They're one of the best teams in the league with how they play. So, yeah, I love Point Harden. I love what he's doing. He's happy with it. He's capable with it. He even said in the post-game interview he's got to stop turning the ball over so much, which I agree with, but that's going to come with time. So if I'm Kyrie, I'm sitting here saying, man, how is this all going to work? How am I going to run point on this team, get mine, Harden's going to get his, and Durant's going to get his? That's the problem with big threes. And the reason that the Durant Splash Brothers thing worked out so well is because Klay Thompson is so humble, because Klay Thompson isn't a dribbler on-the-ball guy. He is a shooter.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And all 3 of these guys here in Brooklyn are on-the-ball guys. So I don't know how this works out. And if you trade Kyrie, you can get a massive haul in return.
It'll be interesting to see what they do. But one of the other things that comes out of that game last night, stop saying that Giannis is elite because he's not. I look at Giannis Antetokounmpo and I say to myself, you're a non-factor in the last 5 minutes of that game. They could not give you the ball, as Siri won't stop talking. They could not give Giannis the basketball. They're struggling. They're losing. Their best answer was, hey, Giannis, stop at half court. Let Chris Middleton have more room.
Yeah.
That's what their offensive set was.
And, hey, let's put Chris Middleton in the corner so he doesn't have any room.
And by the way, Giannis was not guarded at the three-point line. And he shot another air ball last night. He's just not a weapon unless he's dunking.
Yeah.
He is not a mid-range player at all. He has worked on that three-point shot, and I give him credit. He's got massive balls for shooting it because it is not pretty.
Yeah.
But if I'm the Nets, I feel pretty good about that win because you did it without the roster that you're going to have when the playoffs roll around. And I think if you trade Kyrie Irving, you're exactly right. The supplementation, you've got to find a way to replace Jarrett Allen and Karis LeVert. Because that production, now Joe Harris has really stepped up for the Nets.
Yeah.
It has been impressive to watch how James Harden has absolutely positively made it so that Joe Harris is repeatedly uncovered and open.
Yes.
It's unbelievable the doubles that both Kevin Durant and James Harden pull.
Yes.
So Joe Harris, who's, I think, the best three-point shooter in the NBA outside of Steph.
Yeah.
This is a guy that's shooting 50%. And I think it's on almost 100 threes at this point.
Yeah, in the last 2 seasons, he's done it as a starter, not just a bench guy.
It's ridiculous. And yet he is left wide open because James Harden and Kevin Durant are able to get to the basket. And by the way, that James Harden that we all hate so much, the flopper, the thrower, the fat ass with an awful beard.
I legitimately think that there's some credence to the people saying that he might have stuffed his jersey a little bit to get traded because
Mrs. Monty agrees with that.
Dude, you can't tell me that he just shed 20 pounds in 4 or 5 days. There's no way, dude. And last night when he was at the free throw line, there was an angle where he is not his abdomen is not fat. It has ab and core muscle. He might be a little thick right now and he may trim out a little bit, but the guy is shredded. He's in great shape for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think if I'm the Nets and I have a chance to move Kyrie, I would move him.
Yeah.
And if I can get a better center option than DeAndre, I probably do that.
Yeah.
If I can get better backup guard play and wing play, I would probably do. If you think about people that need point guards and who can afford Kyrie, that's about 1 or 2 teams.
Yeah.
I think if you look out west, it's Portland. By the way, damn, they lost C.J. McCollum for a month with a broken foot. I think he was having an MVP caliber season. He wouldn't win it because he's C.J. McCollum and he's not Giannis.
He's not a star like that.
Yeah, but he was having an unbelievable season. I think if you look at teams that are at the top, I look at a team like the Utah Jazz. I look at a team like Portland.
Yeah.
I look at a team, that needs help. The Clippers absolutely could use that. Could absolutely use that.
Yeah, I would agree.
But
yeah.
I don't know that the Nets are going to trade him or they'd be able to.
Yeah.
I mean, you either need somebody that's got the cap space or somebody who's willing to pay the luxury tax.
Yeah, or Kyrie could just, humble himself, which is never going to happen. And,
Yeah, that's not who he is.
I mean, it would be an amazing world that we live in if you could have KD, Kyrie, and James Harden, and Kyrie could be your point guard, and you can rotate through Harden and Durant. And I think in that situation, you're in a great spot. But I don't know, it's just frustrating because I feel like the Nets have a good thing going. I feel like the Nets have a good thing going right now.
Oh, you're frustrated because your guy is Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean? I don't understand.
What are we even talking about? Of course, that's why I'm frustrated. You know that's why I'm frustrated.
I just don't want the situation to get ruined, which I think is going to happen. So.
Oh, I think it's way too late already. I think there is no doubt in my mind that situation's going down in flames.
Yeah.
If you bring Kyrie back to that team, I don't see how that works out. He is going to shoot those. He is going to shoot those threes in volume. He is going to make sure that he gets his 25, 30 a night. And whatever happens to Harden, happens to Harden.
Yeah.
Because he's not married to Harden. He's married to KD.
Yeah.
And I already think one of the more interesting points here is that Steve Nash seems fed up talking about Kyrie Irving.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because he's asked about it. Hey, when's Kyrie coming back? When are we doing this? When are we doing that? And it's like, I just think that Steve Nash has already had enough of. I think he's already had enough of it.
Well, I think the great part about this is obviously, it goes without saying Steve Nash was one of the best point guards the game's ever seen. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that he's talking about a point guard and one that is a fan favorite, I would say, it makes it tough because he knows what Kyrie should be for this team. And I think he also knows that Kyrie's never going to do that. And I think it frustrates him, for sure.
Yeah. By the way, a couple NFL comments before we end this show because we're way out of time. And we're not going to get to talk about entrepreneurship, but that's fine. Fat Jesus says, did Bieniemy hurt himself by refusing to interview with bad teams 3 years ago? Yes. I don't think there's any question. Yeah. He may have had a job 3 years ago, but he wouldn't interview.
He knows who he is. He values himself as a candidate, and so he's not just going to take a crappy job.
And I think he's made money. I think he's absolutely made money. Barry, what's up? Says, stop talking about the Jets like they know what they're doing because they don't. Well, I mean, Robert Saleh is a good hire. I mean,
yeah, but he's got a point there. The Jets are rather dysfunctional.
The Jets will screw it up.
Yeah,
they'll figure it out. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. And again, you know what? I don't know what to say about the Jazz. Like, we've kind of cooled on Jazz talk because
it pisses people off.
Jazz fans got annoyed with us. But if you're talking about big trades and again, Britain back in saying you're talking about NBA trades, but you won't talk about Rudy Gobert being traded. I
love how this conversation has come up more now. We talked about this, what was it, last week or the week before?
For months we've talked about this.
And everybody was like, no. Gobert's the center of the franchise. And now all of a sudden everyone's like, yeah, we should trade him. Yeah, we should definitely trade him.
Why wouldn't you trade him?
Why wouldn't you trade him? It's hilarious.
Because you can't?
Well, you got to wait 6 months. Yeah, you can't trade him right now.
I just don't see any way that you're going to be able to. But even if you traded him today, you're going to get fleeced in that trade because you're going to be desperate. You're going to come across as desperate. The truth about the Jazz is that they need a better Royce O'Neal.
Yeah.
They need somebody who is on Donovan's level or just below it.
Sure.
Because you cannot continue to believe that Bogdanovich and Royce O'Neal and Joe Ingles and certainly not Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley and all these guys who are just guys that you've surrounded Donovan Mitchell with are going to make you better.
Yeah.
Because they're not. And you're not going to win. You're not an elite team. That lost to Denver the other night.
Yeah. It's a perfect example.
I mean, you gave that game away because guys don't make free throws and you're taking terrible shots. And you're Rudy Gobert not fouling. This is the same thing I say about the Suns last night. I look at the Suns losing to Memphis, and I say to myself, this is a loss that shows, A, you're not ready to win.
Yep.
And DeAndre Ayton is really good offensively and just an absolute liability defensively. He had a brain fart and didn't foul with 12 seconds to go.
How?
Like, how do you not immediately
How
foul?
are we condemning J.R. Smith and we're not condemning DeAndre Ayton? It's the same mistake.
Yeah, I just, you know what, man? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I want so desperately for, and how do I say it? I want so desperately for the Jazz, the Suns. I want these teams, the Kings, the Sacramento Kings fans are amazing. I want these teams that have languished to win, but there's a reason they're languishing.
Yes.
Because they're awful at basketballing.
Yes.
Right? And the worst part about the Jazz, they're not awful at basketballing.
Yeah. They're just not good enough.
They're not good enough. And, tactically speaking, they've made some mistakes. Like, the Gordon Hayward thing was a mistake at the time. It's worked out because Donovan's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
But, like, the Rudy Gobert contract, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. You look at the bigs in this league. Giannis is the latest and best example. Bigs in this league cannot be integral parts of your offense unless they can shoot threes.
Yes.
Brook Lopez can be an integral part of your offense because he shoots threes.
Yes. Reliably.
Giannis cannot because he's a liability offensively in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and that's really what no one wants to talk about. It's great that you can drive and you're this awesome transition player, and you can put up 30 and 15 every night. Being a transition player, but 30 and 15 as an individual contributor on a team does not mean you're going to win. That's the problem. What means you're going to win is Kobe Bryant knocking it down from the elbow. It's LeBron hitting the bank shot runner against Toronto. It's Kevin Durant last night hitting that big transition three. You have to be able to shoot the ball to win games. It's that simple.
Do you think? Real quick before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Do you think people... I really want to talk about this entrepreneur thing.
Okay.
We just don't have time. We're an hour and 16 into this. And if you're listening on replay, it's 7:45
Yeah.
Mountain Time. We just don't have time to do this.
Yeah, we don't.
But I'm telling you, this entrepreneur conversation, it'll happen tomorrow. It's critical. If you are somebody that is 27 years old and you're drawing a paycheck, if you are somebody that's 47 years old and you're drawing a paycheck, if you're somebody that is living off of somebody else's pension plan, I'm telling you right now, you're making a huge mistake. And the reason this has come up is so many people have questioned some things that we're doing. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. We're not ready to get in detail about what we're doing, but we'll have a general conversation about it. Maybe we just do a show on a slower day this week that's just about having the balls to be an entrepreneur in 2021. Because I do think it is. I do think it's a fascinating conversation. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Please hit the thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. I just got my email from YouTube that said, hey, you guys hit 100 subscribers. Great job.
Let's go.
We only need 10 times that now. So every subscription matters. We our next goal obviously is probably 250. We need to get to 1,000. So help when you like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Please find us on YouTube, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Until tomorrow, say Kyrie sucks and Katie's got no hair.
Kyrie sucks and Katie's got no hair and is a better player.